An overcast evening greets us at Pony Stadium in Oak Park Heights. I'm Mike Beaton, all by myself, talking to myself. That's Chaos Theory. High school boys soccer coming your way. It's the rematch of last year's Class 2A State Tournament Championship. The Stillwater area Ponies, the defending champions, taking on the defending runner-up, the Duluth East Greyhounds, but both schools coming in with a rather unusual subplot when you consider the pedigree of these two teams. Stillwater at 2-3-3, they lost a lot of talent to graduation, including Spencer Scott and Logan Huber. They're playing college soccer now. And Stillwater's new keeper, Clay Batterton, comes to us by way of the lacrosse team. Jake Smothers was looking for a new keeper to take over for Race Johnson, and Ben Snyder thought of Clay Batterton, put in a recommendation, and Clay said, hey, let's give it a go. He told me a couple of weeks ago, after playing lacrosse year-round for 3 years, he thought soccer would be a nice change of pace. In lacrosse, he's usually trying to score goals. In soccer, he tries to stop them. And Duluth East at 6-4-0. They'll pay one more visit to the Metro to end the regular season on October 5th when they go to Rosemount. They'll wear the white kits. Stillwater wearing the black and red trim, and we're underway at Pony Stadium. Overcast skies, although the clouds are starting to break up. We certainly hope the game will be played without any weather incidents. There is some shower activity off to the east in Wisconsin, but we're not in Wisconsin, are we? Duluth East looking to go into the attack, and Stillwater bats it away. The defense holds up there. Looked like that was Peter Leach. It was who got the deflection. Stillwater 2-3-3. They have not won since Friday, September 6th, when they beat Cedarburg 3-0.
Okay,
since then, a pair of draws to Stevens Point and Forest Lake, and then a 1-0 loss to Mounds View on Thursday on a rather wet day. It was Duluth East making a charge early. Now Stillwater was seeking a counter, and number 11 for the Ponies, Ben Snyder, was stopped in his tracks. Flag stays down, so Carson Arco can catch up to this. Looks for the centering pass. Duluth East deflects it.
Oh.
And a collision. Nothing called. Duncan Zentz and Brady Schmeichen. Nick Purdy will throw it in. Nick has a long lineage of soccer in his family. Captain this year, which was a goal of his. Jake Smothers told me a year ago Nick Purdy plays a lot bigger than his size would suggest. Stillwater winners of the Class 2A state tournament title in 2 of the last 3 years. You may recall in 2016 they went undefeated. 2017 they finished second to Wayzata. Last year they beat Duluth East. They were hoping to get Wayzata again. That didn't happen, but what matters is the title. Purdy throws it in striking range. Duluth East will clear it away, and off to the races is Marin Brandstrader, number 37. Mason Brandstrader, that's his name. And now action over at the near sideline. Brady Schmeichen to throw it in. And the referee thought he was too far upfield. So a momentary delay. Duluth East, aggressive on the challenges early. Stillwater. Heads up play by Ben Snyder. He had Carson Arco up front, but Arco was offside, so Snyder waited for help, and Duluth East ends up taking it over, but it's one of those little moments, those little plays that demonstrate the IQ. And Nick Purdy told me this team wasn't expecting to go undefeated like they did back in 2016, 16-0-0 to be precise. Just 2 wins this season, 2 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws. So they are not in the top 10 in the Class 2A rankings for now, and Duluth East in a similar position. And throwing it in for the Greyhounds, number 8, Nolan Haney. Duluth East started the season with a pair of wins, Minneapolis South and Blaine. They play an independent schedule, so they have stacked it with a lot of metro area teams. In fact, they didn't play anyone in their vicinity as far as geography is concerned until September 5th when they beat Bemidji 1-0. Started the season with 2 straight wins. They entered this game with 2 straight wins, beating Anoka and Cloquet Esco Carlton 2-1 and 2-0 to be precise. Free kick for the Ponies. That lead pass a little too far for number 19, Ethan Kilmer, to catch up to it. The Ponies, as we noted, 2-3-3. It took them 3 games to get their first goal when they beat Hastings 1-0, a game that was broadcast live on Valley Access channels on August 30th. But goals have been few for the Ponies this season. Just 8 goals entering this match. And they have been shut out 4 times, including a scoreless draw with Roseville. So you have to imagine for the Ponies, keeping Duluth East off the board will be crucial if they want to pick up their first win. And you don't get a lot of games on the schedule, or a lot of opportunities. It's a short season, 6 weeks. Usually starts next to last week of August and wraps up in the first weekend of October. Duluth East on the move. It was Kai Gort. Centering pass. Nice job by the Ponies to deny Duncan Zenz an opportunity. He was in position, but Stillwater's back line holds them, holds up, holds strong, holds them off. And now Stillwater forcing the turnover. Ethan Kilmer got control of the ball, but only temporarily. Yes, and no Bob running P8 tonight. So filling in are a couple of notable names in Stillwater, Ricky Michael and Mike Huber. Ricky, the athletic director, Mike, the head coach of the girls' soccer team. Duluth East waiting the throw-in. For Duluth East, Duncan Zenz is someone to keep an eye on. We've noted he has placed himself in a couple of positions. So he's lurking in the offensive line. So keep an eye out for him on set plays or any type of fluid motion. He has 3 goals on the season. Grady Downs, someone else to keep an eye on, 41. He has 2 goals, and Cal Gort has 2 goals. So entering this contest, those are some of the folks who have capitalized and got themselves on the board in the first half of the season. Now Duluth East catches a break, and I'm not sure Cal Peller didn't make that move unintentionally. Cal Peller was running back and sensed that he was running out of space, so he got it off a Stillwater player to force a goal kick and give Duluth East a little more room to operate. Like I said, I'm not sure that wasn't by design. Peter Leach clears that one past the sideline. And taking his time on the throw-in is Nolan Haney. Good header by the Ponies to send it away. And once again, they'll get it past the sideline. You'll see that move frequently in soccer, especially on the defensive side. Concede a throw-in to give your defense a chance to set up. And more importantly, prevent a potential mistake from becoming a goal. Here's Nolan Haney. He has a look. Centering pass. Good cross to Bailey France, but Bailey sends that wide. A little too wide. So Stillwater catches a break. Again, right idea. Haney to France. And now it's going to be Duluth East ball following the Stillwater foul. Yeah, France didn't kick the ball as hard as he did. That might have had a chance against Batterton. Cal Peller puts the free kick in motion. Header goes just over the goal. And the first quality scoring chance of the game. Bailey France had another good look, so Bailey eyeing potential lanes, eyeing potential chances.
Oh.
And he's been close. Stillwater will be wise to not give him any more chances like that. And Duluth East commits a foul as number 19, Ethan Kilmer, took a hard hit. Shakes it off, keeps on motoring. Again, a rematch of last year's Class 2A championship. And once again, Stillwater sends it away. You had a flying Bailey France. He showcased a lot of speed as he tried to catch up to the ball. And that quickness will certainly help. Ooh, Stillwater player tripped up. Joseph Young almost tripped himself up there. And that'll go out of bounds. Duluth East ball. Now, this won't come into play at this stage of the game, but if we are tied or if a team takes, say, a 1-goal, 2-goal lead later in the game, this is the first chance I've had to explain it if you're watching this on the TSB Television YouTube channel. If you're following us on Valley Access channels, you're already accustomed to this. But A new rule instituted by the National Federation of High Schools states that a time-wasting ploy will not be allowed in soccer. So if either side, I should say if the team in front makes a substitution with less than 5 minutes to go, the clock will stop. Again, that is a nationwide rule, not a Minnesota State High School League rule. It wasn't necessarily a tactic you saw frequently at this level, but Ted LaRue and I discussed it last week when we were covering the Tartan St. Thomas Academy game, and we both agreed it discourages the practice and ensures the team trailing has a fair opportunity to come from behind if they can. Goal kick for the Greyhounds. Stillwater hasn't put any shots on the net yet. So if you see a team go up and they make a substitution, since you can do so at an unlimited level in high school, the clock will stop. Again, that will take place at the 5-minute mark in the second half. So not something you would see here. Duluth East showing a little more poise with the ball. They've controlled it for a longer stretch. Stillwater has yet to set up a quality chance, as we noted earlier. They draw another foul and get the ball in motion right away, try to catch Duluth East off guard, and Joseph Young had nowhere to go. And the ball is scooped up with no difficulty by Anthony McHenry, the junior keeper for Duluth East. McHenry has appeared in almost every game this season. Save percentage of .855. He's given up 10 goals. He has stopped 59. And Stillwater just can't get any fluidity or consistency when they get to the offensive side of the field. But Batterton and Purdy both told me confidence was going to be crucial for this team compared to previous years when they knew they had the talent to back them up. As we noted, they lost a lot of talent to graduation. Logan Huber and Spencer Scott, and Gora not playing with the team this year as he is involved in a USA Soccer commitment, which Jake Smothers considers a wonderful opportunity. He says it's unfortunate for the Stillwater team. He's still a student here at the school, but on a personal level, it's hard to pass up a chance to represent USA Soccer at any level. And even though Scott and Huber were the big names on last year's Stillwater team, Gora made some plays of his own. Duluth East has committed a few more fouls. And Stillwater heads that out of play. Ben Snyder was trying to hook up with Joseph Young. And the Stillwater varsity team this year, even though they have a lot of new faces, something they will have an opportunity to do is build on the chemistry long term. They don't have a lot of seniors on this year's team. Just 8, and they have a freshman on the varsity roster in Derek Dopkins. So this may be a lean year, which a lot of other schools would be happy to have when you consider Stillwater standards, but you might see the centerpiece, the building blocks for future teams. You have a lot of juniors. Merrick Castle subbing in for the Ponies. And that was touched by a Duluth East player. Unfortunately, Joseph Young couldn't handle it. If he had been able to pick that up, that would not have been offside as the ball was deflected off a defending player. But Joseph Young stationing himself in the front lines. And Stillwater will backpedal and the ball will roll out of play. And Duluth East responds with a substitution of their own, Ricardo Gonzalez. Or was it 33? It's either Gonzalez or Kraft. We'll wait for a number. As you can tell, we don't take ourselves too seriously here in Stillwater. I don't take myself too seriously, period. Bonnie can attest to that. It is Matthew Kraft, the junior, not Ricardo Gonzalez, but I'm sure Ricardo didn't mind the shout-out.
Oh my, does that mean you can collect 2 paychecks? Yeah, you put them on your payroll?
We're having a lot of fun up here in the booth. Duluth East will defer back to their keeper and Anthony McHenry. And it's going to be Stillwater ball. Where are we? 20 minutes left in the first half. Still no score. With a pair of teams who have not scored a lot this season. Duluth East averaging 1.2 goals. Stillwater averaging less than a goal. So this may be one of those games where the first team to score could very well win it. As we noted, Stillwater shut out 4 times. And Duluth East, they've been shut out 3 times. And scored 1 goal on another 3 games. So offense at a premium for these two compared to a year ago. And as we say in high school, graduation is the great equalizer. Stillwater playing the same caliber of talent as a year ago. Eastview, Washburn, they were top 10 teams. Washburn, a team to watch, as everyone wonders if they can finally get out of Section 6. St. Louis Park, they won't play Stillwater, but that's another team that has made a lot of noise in the boys soccer community. And then Stillwater's continued their series with Wisconsin, the Cedarburg Quad, where they played Cedarburg and Stevens Point. They trade hosting sites every year, so next year Stillwater will get the chance to host some of Wisconsin's finest. They have one more non-conference game on the schedule, and that one we'll have highlights of on the social media feeds of Valley Access channels when they go to play Southwest. That game last year, if you recall, played to a scoreless draw. There were a couple of close calls in that game, but
coming in for Stillwater, number 8, Liam Tokelly, and number 23, Connor Parker.
Nobody scored. Stillwater making another substitution. And we are going to have our first corner. It took us 22.5 minutes for it, or was that? Okay, that was just, I thought that was going to be a corner for a moment, but it was out of bounds just before it passed the end line. So Purdy will throw it in. Neither team with a corner yet. Good throwing by Purdy. While Ricochet's out, can Stillwater catch up to it? They will, and they score! Joseph Young on the back end. And Stillwater goes up 1-0.
Goal for Stillwater, number 7, Joseph Young.
The goal comes in the 23rd minute. And as we said, one goal may be enough to win it when you look at the lack of offensive productivity with these two teams. So that play was set up by Purdy's throw-in. It wasn't a corner kick, but it was a good throw into the center. Ball pinballs around. Joseph Young able to catch up to it and dump it in for the score. And for a team that's been shut up 4 times, this is the start they need. Of course, we were here around this time last year. Weather was a little different back then. It was 90 degrees, it was hot and humid, but we still got a crowd for number 1 and number 2 in Class 2A at the time, Stillwater and Washburn. It was the Millers coming up top then. And the largest attended game I've covered in my soccer experience. The Stillwater bleachers were pretty full. In fact, there was a line at Pony Stadium. They had to send a couple of folks to help take tickets. Demand was that high a year ago.
Coming in for Stillwater, number 11, Ben Snyder.
Joseph Young will take a breather. Ben Snyder will take his place. And we noted this a couple weeks ago when we were here for Stillwater Moorhead, but if you're watching us for the first time, or if you didn't get a chance to catch that game, you may have noticed the shelters. Soccer and lacrosse will use those shelters throughout the season. And that will be a foul, a collision between number 41, Grady Downs, and he's going to get a yellow. Downs hit with a yellow card as he bulldozed Brady Schmeichen. Yellow card to Grady Downs in the 25th minute. And Kiyoshi Sudo will take his place. As you know, when you take a yellow, you have to sub out. Deep free kick by Purdy. Batted away by McHenry. And it looks like Purdy will trot over for the throw-in. So Duluth East with the first dose of momentum in this one, but a well-placed throw-in by Purdy set up a goal from Joseph Young, and now a yellow card issued to Grady Downs after his collision with Brady Schmeichen. Wow. You came up with that one all by yourself there, Bonnie? And I thought I had the one-liners. There was a foul while that was going on. So Purdy with a free kick. Duluth East, they played aggressively to start this, and it might be costing them here. Purdy, the free kick, found his target, but just a little bit behind on the pass. Good challenge by the Greyhounds. Then they get it off of number 8, Liam Kekeli. Goal kick for the Greyhounds. Duncan Zentz going back in for Duluth East, number 9. He'll take the spot of Matthew Kreft. I wonder if Zentz ever considered being part of Revolution number 9. Thought I might stump you with that.
That was a stretch because that's his number, not his name.
Well, do you understand what Revolution number 9? It was part of an unreleased track, unreleased single from the Beatles. It was just a hodgepodge of sound effects. I thought I might get you with that deep pop culture reference. And Duluth East fans everywhere are wondering, what is this guy doing here? This is how you entertain yourself when you're calling games solo. Another goal kick for the Ponies, as another shot did go wide, if you didn't hear Bonnie's remarks. Duluth East, they've had a few chances, nothing on net yet, so Clay Batterton hasn't had a chance or an opportunity to test his goalkeeping ability. He did say the first time he took a practice with Jake Smothers and the crew, he admitted he had no idea what he was doing. But he credits the patience and the persistence and the mentorship of his more experienced teammates and Jake Smothers. They've guided him along the way. That first save was euphoric for him. And in case you're wondering, Batterton has no plans to mine the net for the lacrosse team this spring. He prefers scoring goals. But he did gain a better appreciation of what goalkeepers do in sports like soccer, hockey, and lacrosse. But he's happy to stop. And what?
Soccer has, they can touch the ball, and the ball is not as hard as a lacrosse ball.
That's true. Bonnie, you're like those radio producers that chime in every so often to compliment the DJs.
Sorry, it just, yeah.
No, I understand. I think Batterton is sticking with soccer goalkeeping for the same reason. But he has the height for it. He's got a tall frame, maybe the tallest on the team, and I can understand why Snyder considered him. And even though this is a large school, nearly 3,000 students, word does get around. There is a lot of crossover, friendships. Another free kick for the Ponies. This is where they have done their damage. Duluth East playing an aggressive game, but they have been called for more fouls, giving up a lot of free kicks, allowing Stillwater a bunch of set pieces, whether they came through free kicks or throw-ins, and a nice clearance by the Ponies to stop a potential Duluth East attack. It will be Greyhounds' ball in the throw-in. That's Kai Gort. And Beckett Sherman will take the spot of Nolan Haney.
Beckett Sherman for number 8, Nolan Haney.
A little bit of pushing and shoving between Purdy and a Duluth East player. They let that go. It's number 24 for the Greyhounds, Hayden Erickson. Duluth East ball, last touch by Ben Snyder. And Kai Gort will throw it in. Now, if you're watching this on the TSB Television YouTube page, Valley Access Channels will have one more live game for you on September 24th. Live doubleheader. Stillwater and Woodbury, those two teams historically have had close, thrilling matchups, and we'll have that doubleheader for you right here at Pony Stadium, September 24th. Don Ackerman and I will be with you on that one. Bonnie will probably watch from home because she can only put up with me for so long. Let's be real. Just about anyone can only put up with me for so long. Throwing for the Greyhounds. Erickson. Faked it. Now he fires. And that was fielded by a Stillwater defender. Kilmer. No relation to Val Kilmer, I presume. Sends the ball up front. And Duluth East got there first. Cal Gort heads it over to Anthony McHenry to stop a Stillwater threat. 8 minutes, 50 seconds. So early on, both teams were feeling each other out. It looked like Duluth East had the edge in ball control and offensive fluidity, but Stillwater making their marks. Duluth East got the turnover. Good challenge by Brady Schmeichen. Otherwise, number 39, Gino Simonet. That could have been dangerous for the Ponies. There's Simonet again. Ball headed away by Peter Leach. The Stillwater back line doing their job. And once again, Clay Batterton hasn't had to worry about minding the net so far.
Joseph Young.
the shots that Duluth East has fired as Joseph Young returns to the field. Duluth East, they've had 3 shots at the goal and none have been on net. 3 shots, but none on goal.
Correction, number 20, Jack Kellner.
Jack Kellner in for the Greyhounds. Deep throw in, Batterton making a play for it, and he bats it away, but that will result in our first corner.
Corner for Duluth East.
It took 32 minutes and 30 seconds roughly, but we have our first corner. And Duluth East with the dribbler. Another shot, and again it goes high. Duncan Zentz had the perfect setup, the perfect lane, and he sends it through the uprights, which doesn't work in this sport. Four shots for the Greyhounds, none on goal. Stillwater, I think they've only had 1. And Joseph Young was able to punch it in. There's a header, the lob picked up by the Ponies. Battle for the ball, won by Stillwater. Duluth East will reset. Kellner had it for a moment. Flag goes up, that will be offside. Kimmer a little too far in front. And which gives us a chance to check the weather. So it looks like the threat of rain has moved on. Again, there was some shower and storm activity off to the east of us. That is moving away. No redevelopment coming from behind. Looking at the western part of the state, we should be clear the rest of the evening. I know all of you were worrying about that. Kilmer catches up to the ball again. This time, Zach Lanigan will chase it down before Kilmer can reach it, but Ethan wanting to kickstart a counterattack. There's geese flying. I don't think they're hibernating just yet. And we didn't see any. Again, the threat of rain may have put a damper on it, but during the week, during the spring, summer, and fall months, there's a hot air balloon experience you can check out. We've seen a few hot air balloons float by Pony Stadium. Kilmer again. This time he stays on side. Shakes one defender. Shakes another. Ethan Kilmer making defenders miss. And Duluth East has no choice but to send it past the touchline, conceding a throw-in. Some shiftiness on the part of Ethan Kilmer, the senior. And now Nick Purdy will have a chance for a throw-in in scoring position with 4.5 to play in the first. Kilmer winds up. And that goes away from the Duluth East goal. Break for the Greyhounds. Now they're looking to make a counter out of it. And that was a white and black sandwich. Duluth East ball, they'll throw it in. But that will give the Ponies time to set their defense up. Purdy almost got the clearance there. That's Dylan Magistad.
injury.
The Duluth East player is down. And we're going to have a stoppage in play, I believe, as the ball sails out of play. Jack Kellner took a hard hit. And here comes the athletic trainer. While he's being examined, this gives us an opportunity to look ahead at the remainder of the schedule. As we said, we're at the halfway point of the regular season in boys soccer. Duluth East already passed the halfway point in their season. Just 5 games after this, with the rival Duluth schools, Denfeld and Marshall. They'll host White Bear Lake and Hermantown and end the regular season at Rosemount on October 5th. Jack Kellner gets up, but it looks like he's going to need assistance. It's his right leg, and he's not putting any weight on it. Jack Kellner, 1 assist this season. So as he's taken off the field. Looking ahead at Stillwater. They're back here on Tuesday when they host Irondale. The first time those two schools have met as conference rivals, Irondale joining the Suburban East. Next Thursday should be a big game. They go on the road to face Eastridge, Stillwater and Eastridge, with a long history as section rivals, both in Section 4 usually. Minneapolis Southwest, we'll have highlights of that one. Woodbury will have that one for you live on Valley Access channels. A couple of road games with Park at Cottage Grove and Cretin-Durham Hall. And they'll end the regular season like they did a year ago, hosting White Bear Lake on October 3rd. And I need to put my phone on silent, because you probably don't care about the sports updates I get on my phone. Aren't we all? Well, it's not looking good. 5-2 Cleveland in the top of the 5th. Although the Twins did take the first game. .2:15 to go. And the ball will straddle out of bounds. It will be a throw-in for the Ponies. And Purdy has given Stillwater a few chances on these throw-ins. No corners yet for the Ponies, but Purdy doing a good job, and as we said, he plays a lot bigger than his size suggests. I remember last year Spencer Scott had those monstrous throw-ins. Purdy. Oh, he was looking. He had Benjamin Snyder in his sights, and McHenry bats it away. Purdy will trot to the other side of the field to throw it in, but that was close. And Stillwater fans cheering over a substitution. Can't read the number from here. As Purdy throws it in, McHenry makes a play for it, leaps, and makes the catch.
Coming in for Stillwater, number 25, Daniel Davila.
Daniel Davila was the athlete coming in for the Ponies, number 25, and apparently his family is here, or he's got a big fan section, because he got a lot of applause. Play stays down. Kilmer's got a chance. Has to shake McHenry. Ball still live. Kilmer dumps it in. Stays with it. Stillwater up 2-0. He beat McHenry. He beat Duluth East defender. Cal Peller was on him. I think there was contact between the two. Kilmer able to maintain his balance. McHenry couldn't recover in time. And it's 2-0 Ponies, with Kilmer scoring in the 40th minute. Kilmer had been waiting for that moment, waiting for a chance to pounce on a counterattack. It finally comes with 50 seconds left in the half. And Stillwater up 2-0. It will go up on the board soon. Ref is having a discussion. The goal goes up on the board as Duluth East continues to have a conversation with the ref. I think number 16, Cal Peller, thought there should have been a foul on Kilmer. No, that's number 11, Zach Lanigan. But Duluth East not feeling too thrilled with that sequence of events. They thought Kilmer gave himself an unfair advantage. There was no call, no play, no whistle of any kind, and Ethan Kilmer, however you look at that goal, how about that score? Once again, that was set up by Nick Purdy, the senior, dishing it out. The first goal came on a throw-in that was well placed by him, and the ricochet went over to Joseph Young. And then in that instance, a counterattack set up by Purdy. He found Ethan Kilmer deep. Ethan onside this time. Shook McHenry, shook off Cal Peller, and Stillwater will go to the half up 2-0. It's just the second time, the third time this season they have scored 2 or more. So the Ponies off to a fantastic start. Goals have come at a premium for the Ponies this year. They've been hard to find, but they pick up 2 big ones in the first half, one from Joseph Young, one from Ethan Kilmer, and the Ponies are up 2-0 in this rematch of last year's Class 2A state tournament championship. Duluth East was the team that had the advantage to start with. Stillwater carrying all the momentum right now. We'll take a break and bring you the second half. When we return, you're watching high school boys soccer at Pony Stadium. The Ponies lead the Greyhounds 2-0.
Across the Twin Cities Metro and beyond, TSP Television offers long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. It takes a lot of time and effort to give you this level of coverage. If you want to help out, visit us at patreon.com/GSP Television or paypal.me/GSP Television.
Mike Beaton all by myself, talking to myself. That's Chaos Theory for you. Stillwater causing some chaos for Duluth East in this rematch of last year's Class 2A State Tournament Championship. Goals coming from Joseph Young in the 23rd minute and Ethan Kilmer in the 40th minute. A yellow card was issued to Grady Downs in the 41st minute. 25th minute, I should say. We're not at the 41st minute yet, but we will be when we kick off. We'll have a couple more soccer games for you on the calendar if you're watching this on the TSP Television YouTube channel, weather permitting, of course. September 28th, we'll have a couple of matchups for you with Egan and Cretin-Durham Hall girls soccer. Cretin-Durham Hall having one of the top players in the state in Paige Peltier. Stillwater kicks it off. We switch sides, and it was Duluth East who got the edge early. They've put 4 shots on Stillwater, but none on goal. Stillwater, the more opportunistic team. Just one corner, and that was taken by Duluth East. That's going to be a foul on Duluth, or I should say on Stillwater, as the team switch sides. Good free kick. This could be a play for Batterton, but Stillwater's back line, they've done a fantastic job in the first half keeping pressure off of Batterton. Duluth East, Nolan Henry tried to catch up to it. He does. Ends up kicking it laterally to the other end of the field. And we're going to have our second corner, so Stillwater not out of the woods yet. And we noted, both teams trying to find a spark on offense. Stillwater was averaging less than a goal entering this matchup. They had that 2-2 tie with Forest Lake. They've been shut up 4 times. That will not be the case tonight, as Duluth East readies for the second corner. It's a low one. And once again, Duluth East just cannot get the ball on location. Most of their shots have sailed through the uprights, which makes it easy for Batterton. He doesn't have to defend the net or worry about any big plays, but Duluth East, if they can get one on goal, that could give them the boost in morale they need. Logan Clendenin, number 16, making his first appearance for the Ponies. And Stillwater clears it away. Again, a common tactic on the defensive side. You'll send it past the end line to prevent the corner, with the logic being a corner kick being more threatening than the throw-in as far as set pieces are concerned. Here's Ethan Kilmer. He's going to have to shake a few defenders if he wants another shot at the goal, and he won't be able to do so this time. Although he does catch up to it, trying to shake off number 11, Zach Lanigan. Kilmer showing some footwork there. His ball handling skills impressive in this one. And here's number 3, Merrick Castle, but the flag went up. He's offside. So weather permitting on the 28th, we should have a couple of good soccer games for you. Egan and Cretin-Durham Hall in the daytime, and in the evening, Stillwater and Lakeville North girls soccer, a rematch of last year's Class 2A quarterfinal. And those two schools with quite the series history. We covered that match here a year ago. It was a scoreless draw in the regular season. In the state quarterfinals, Stillwater bested Lakeville North 2-0. Lakeville North, one of those perennials. You get them around the metro, where it seems like no matter the sport, Lakeville North is always in the conversation. Football, basketball, soccer, hockey, just about everything. I know a lot of folks love to joke about the Lake Conference schools, the Cake Eaters with Edina and EP, but don't sleep on Lakeville North. And Stillwater has had plenty of success of their own the last couple of years with all the section titles, a few state tournament appearances, and a few championships as well. So don't hate on the East Metro. There's a lot of talent out here in the border town of Wisconsin. We're heading the other way on a Duluth East throw-in. Ethan Kilmer, once again, showing off his speed. You won't be able to catch up to it this time. But he gets an applause anyway as he reminds Duluth East of his presence as part of the front line. Scored a goal by himself after taking a great pass from Nick Purdy. A fantastic hookup, kind of the equivalent of a Hail Mary in the other football. And two Duluth East players collide. That gave Nick Purdy a moment, but he fired his shot and it went right off a Duluth East player, so a nearly scary situation for Duluth East I could have given a gift to the Ponies, but instead the Greyhounds aren't done. Here's Kilmer again at midfield. Keep an eye on this guy. He has some moves to his game. Yeah, and I'm hearing someone, I think somebody from the coaching staff, yelling, "Move in diagonal spaces." Not sure who that is, if it's Jake or the Duluth East coach. Grady Downs going back in for the Greyhounds. Remember, he has a yellow card. One more, and he will be tossed. A foul was called on Duluth East. Didn't see. Someone went down. Didn't see what transpired, but free kick for the Ponies. And a little too deep for Zach Lanigan. He takes the tumble, and Duluth East recovers. Play at midfield. Stillwater 2-3-3. Yep, 2-3-3. Duluth East 6-4-0. Again, not the record, not the storyline you would have expected at the start of the season when the schedules were released and you saw a matchup of last year's finalists in Class 2A. And what a match that was. Stillwater won it in extra time. In the first minute of extra time, centering pass almost connected with Merritt Castle, but Castle just a step behind. Kilmer I thought it was Kilmer who's sent the ball past the touchline. Instead it was Duluth East, so Nick Purdy will get a throw in. And it's Stillwater who has been controlling the game. From, I would say, the midway point of the first half, where they've been finding a few more shots on net. Duluth East, they've had their chances. Again, 5 shots, but none on goal. Connor Parker, number 23 on the field for the Ponies, and there he is. Throwing for the Greyhounds. 30 minutes to go in this Saturday night game. It's quite common, actually. A lot of Saturday night events for soccer, again, with such a short regular season, you've got to find a way to squeeze in games when you can.
Oh, jeez.
Throw in for Lanigan. Another foul, and that's going to be another yellow. This time it's on Aiden Erickson. Aiden Erickson with a hard shot to Logan Clendenin.
About time.
The second yellow issued
About time.
against the Greyhounds. Jack Worley will take Erickson's place. Officially, Erickson charged with the yellow card in the 51st minute. We know Duluth East came with an aggressive attack and aggressive stance early, but it's produced some more fouls and 2 yellows with a couple of hard hits. Aiden Erickson disgusted at the call. Ethan Kilmer was ready to pounce on that one. McHenry beat him to it and will concede the throw-in by sending it past the sideline. Here's Matthew Folden. And it will stay Duluth East ball. It has just not been the most poised of games for the Greyhounds.
Oh.
Cal Gort. Nick Purdy on the far side of the field. Looking for Kilmer again. Can Kilmer get there before the ball rolls out of bounds? He does, but doesn't have a lot of space to work with, so has to take a shot. And contact made after McHenry caught the ball. And that's going to be a yellow. That was pretty clear.
What happened?
I'm not sure exactly what happened on that one.
I mean, I didn't.
They definitely kind of collided there.
I thought.
They're talking to each other this whole time. Like, they're not being respectful towards each other.
No. No.
No, instead thought it was going to go against Parker. Instead, it's a yellow on McHenry. So it's going to be a penalty kick for Purdy. It looked like it was going the other way. Instead, a free kick, a PK for Purdy. And Purdy looking pretty good there. He scores on the PK. I thought it was going against Parker after McHenry collided, but apparently he must have led with his arm or something and sent the Stillwater player down. And for the second time this season, Stillwater has scored 3 goals or more. So Purdy scores on the penalty kick. McHenry given a yellow. I thought it was Parker who initiated contact with McHenry, but the official, who has the better vantage point than I do, it looked like it was the other way around. McHenry making contact with Parker, and frustrations
It's gotta hurt.
boiling over for Duluth East. 3 yellows. They trailed 3-0, and what was billed as a rematch of last year's state tournament finalists in Class 2A is turning into a one-sided affair. This could be a big game for the Ponies as far as confidence goes. Even if Duluth East isn't the most feared team in Class 2A right now. And I've been impressed at Stillwater's back line in particular. Backline doing a good job keeping Duluth East from setting up any quality chances, and when the Greyhounds have had scoring opportunities, their shots have gone wide. None have been on goal. They've had 5 chances. So this is looking more and more like a Stillwater win after that sensational game a year ago.
Coming in for Duluth East, number 23, Anthony McHenry, and number 24, Aiden Rice.
So McHenry goes back in after he had to sub out momentarily due to the yellow. Flag goes up offside on Duluth East, and that yellow caught me off guard because usually the keepers get a little more leeway, but that doesn't mean you can initiate contact and send a player down like McHenry did. Now Greyhounds looking to make something happen. They haven't put a shot on net yet. They do here. That shot looked like it was going wide right, but Clay Batterton gets the save anyway. Cal Gort with a slicing shot. And even if it wasn't going to be on goal, I'm sure Batterton didn't mind a rep. I mean, as a keeper, you probably enjoy it when your back line does the job and prevents the other team from getting any shots on you, but I'm sure you want to see some action and just remind everybody, yes, I can stop shots, even though, get this, Batterton, until this season, had not played a single minute of varsity soccer. His only experience at Pony Stadium was as a lacrosse member, and he also played basketball. But not a single minute of soccer until this year. He's the keeper, Bonnie. Oh, for lacrosse. One of those two. He had 5 goals on the season last year. He wasn't one of the go-to guys, but he did pick up a few goals for the Ponies here and there. I know he's usually trying to score goals, so yeah, midi or an attacker. I'll have to talk to the lacrosse coach about that when we get to the spring. And speaking of lacrosse, I know Stillwater boys lacrosse is hoping to etch some history. It looked like they were going to do it last year. They were the #1 team in the state in boys lacrosse, and in a shocking upset, lost to Matamidi right here in the section semifinal at Pony Stadium. Stillwater will have their first corner of the game. Bonnie, I have to remember, you are like me and you follow every sport, or at least are familiar with every sport. Well, that'll do it when your kids play. Throwing for the Ponies after the corner was nothing doing. Here's a cross. Stillwater had another chance. Now a lob. It will be McHenry who wins the jump ball this time. And McHenry's got to be careful with that yellow. And that's going to be a foul on the Greyhounds. And another yellow. It's a red! I thought it was a yellow. It's a red. A red card. Duluth East, they've been playing aggressively, and it looks like the red card is going to go against Bailey France. So for the rest of the game, Duluth East will play with 10 players. Three yellows and now a red card. And the Duluth East coach is furious. And he's just been tossed. The Duluth East coach, I guess, said some not so nice things, or as Scott Van Pelt would say, has been invited to be more constructive with his feedback. So Francis sent off on the red card. The Duluth East coach has been tossed, by my understanding. And this is a worst-case scenario for the Greyhounds. I know this was a big matchup that they put on the schedule. They still get a shot. It's wide right. And even with 10 players, that doesn't mean you still can't get scoring opportunities. It's a little harder, but we've seen it happen before. What a wild turn of events here at Pony Stadium as the home team is up 3-0. Emotions are part of the game, and unfortunately for Duluth East, emotions and aggressive play have been taken a little too far. Not what you want to see in any game, in any matchup, but it happens. And you have to wonder if that goal that was scored by Kilmer, Duluth East thought a foul should have been called on him. Here's Kilmer with the takeover, lines up his shot, saved by McHenry. So even with a 3-0 lead, Stillwater, they're not going to cruise or coast their way to a win. They want to assert their authority. Every game is important for seeding purposes as far as the section goes, and maybe state. Stillwater would be an underdog this year compared to a year ago when you look at schools like Eastridge, for example. But if the Ponies can build on some momentum, they're definitely going to get a lot with tonight's performance over Duluth East, as it looks like they're going to hang on to a 3-0 win. That red card surprised me on the part of France, but I wonder, when he made contact, there was a Stillwater player in midair, if that played a part in the referee's decision to issue a red. And again, Duluth East had 3 yellows to that point, so their chippiness perhaps was leaving an impression on the head official. But this is a welcome sight for the Ponies. As we noted, averaging just under a goal a game entering this matchup. They have been shut out 4 times. So not a lot of high-scoring games. It will be a goal kick for the Ponies.
Coming in for Stillwater, number 3, Merritt Castle.
Merritt Castle and Charles Maloney taking the pitch for the Ponies. So a wild turn of events at Pony Stadium. The yellow on McHenry and the subsequent penalty kick goal by Purdy in the 52nd minute. In the 58th minute, a red card sends off Bailey France. And we still have 18.5 minutes left. If you're Duluth East, I think you're just trying to get out of this game without any more controversies. When France got the red card, the coach was sent off for an unpleasant exchange with the referee. The benches are on the far side of the field, so it was hard to tell what was said, but I know Duluth East coach took exception. So again, Duluth East playing with 10 players due to the red card on France. Throwing for the Ponies, and I don't think Stillwater's going to do anything crazy here. You know, they've got a 3-0 lead. I'm sure they wouldn't mind another one as Duluth East makes the substitution, but we're not going to have to worry about time-wasting ploys as the National Federation of High Schools called it in the rule they put in where the clock stops. You know, they got a 3-0 lead. Again, the clock would stop once we get past the 5-minute mark, but given the circumstances, as Gino Simonet takes the field for the Greyhounds, I don't see Stillwater doing that. You're up 3-0, so you've got a comfortable lead over Duluth East, a team that had the better record as far as wins go. 6-4-0, Stillwater 2-3-3. And Duluth East, when you look at common opponents, Duluth East beat Mounds View, Stillwater lost to the Mustangs. Greyhounds lost to Forest Lake, Stillwater got a draw against them. And Duluth East will play one more Suburban East team in White Bear Lake. And Stillwater will face them on October 3rd, as we noted before. Offside on the Ponies. So there were no showers or thunderstorms to worry about outside of a stray sprinkle before the start of the game, but plenty of activity on the field at Pony Stadium on the part of Duluth East. A sprinkling of cards. Yes, a storm of cards. A gust. 3 yellows and a red, to be precise. And on top of that, an ejection of Duluth East head coach. Foul on the Greyhounds. Free kick for the Ponies. And a quiet night for Batterton, all things considered. He's only had 1 shot on goal. A deep free kick from Purdy. And losing a player, it's hard to tell what can happen in a circumstance like that. As far as emotion goes, Stillwater having a huge advantage there. But one example comes to mind. I think it was the United States and Brazil in the 2011 Women's World Cup quarterfinal. United States was able to come back, and they were trailing in extra time, having to play with just 10 women. Abby Wambach, of course, with that brilliant equalizer to force penalty kicks that the United States was able to win, and the moon is breaking through the clouds here at Pony Stadium. We did have what you would call a full moon last night on Friday the 13th. A harvest moon, according to Bonnie. But if you're of the superstitious type, I don't know how you handled last night. For me, it was just like any other. I'm a man of many fears, tridecaphobia, not one of them. Triskadeca, not trideca. I don't know, whatever 13 is. I don't spend a whole lot of time studying phobias. Because, as a man once said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Or if you follow a certain late-night show, it would be Herbert Hoover, who's a lizard alien. Okay, that was a real deep cut, wasn't it? 12 minutes, 35 seconds. Ethan Kilmer trying to wrestle control of the ball on the front line. This is one of those nights where it's clear I need some more color guys, if nothing else, to make sure I behave myself. Otherwise, I really go off the rails, as you probably have picked up on in these last few minutes.
Harvest Moon.
Coming in for Duluth East, number 31, Kiyoshi Sudu.
Kiyoshi Sudu
Oh,
making one more appearance of the Greyhounds.
14, Jordan Schwingler.
And for the Ponies, Jordan Schwingler. 11:40 to go, and I think we're getting to the point where you're going to see some more reserves take the field. Stillwater up 3-0. Duluth East playing with 10.
Coming in for Stillwater, number 8, Liam.
The margin of victory is not a huge factor when it comes to seeding, and we don't play in any tournaments where goal differential is a priority, so chance for some of the younger guys to get a few minutes on the field. And on the other end, one of the ball kids, Jacob Ralston, the sophomore, one of the ball kids, is showing off his balancing skills, taking the soccer ball and doing the classic spin it on your finger, and we're going to have a foul on Stillwater with the push off there. McHenry will send it past midfield. It bounces off the head of Jordan Schwingler.
You got Cal again.
9:55 to go. And what will be a wire-to-wire win for the Ponies. It was Duluth East who got the edge early, but Stillwater, from that midway point of the first half, took over, and they did not look back. It's actually quite impressive what they did in the second half onward. The second half of the first half, I should say, as Stillwater was looking to punch another one in. That was Charles Maloney. McHenry again able to beat him to it. Well, a much-needed highlight for the Ponies in a season where highlights haven't been as ubiquitous as last year. As we said, they were shut out 4 times. That was not the case a year ago. And, in fact, we talked about that undefeated run in 2016. Last year, Stillwater lost just once. That loss against Washburn on almost this same date a year ago.
Number 18, Jackson DeCumba. And change the keeper, number 22, Elijah Kramer.
Jackson DeCumba and Elijah Kramer taking over for McHenry, a keeper now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Batterton, as DeCumba dives on it, and Jacob Huning has to leap over to avoid getting any calls against him. Nice play by DeCumba. Jackson DeCumba, the sophomore, listed at, I should say Kramer, listed at midfielder, but
Coming in for Stillwater, number 18, Chase Hines, and number 22, Connor Lund.
Connor Lund and Chase Hines now take the field. And now we're getting a look at the second stringers. And Stillwater will nurse this 3-0 lead onto the third win of the year. And they'll pick up their first win since September 6th. I know that doesn't sound long. It's only 8 days, but with a short regular season in boys soccer, 8 days is a long time between victories. We're going to have another stoppage, another yellow maybe?
Apparently that may be the end of the game.
What just happened? The referee, I think I heard him say he was ending the game right now. I don't know what transpired, so I guess the game is over. I can only laugh at this absurdity. So the teams are going to shake hands, and this game will be called early. So with 6:48 left, Stillwater is going to end this with a 3-0 win. I have never seen this happen. Even in a game where the outcome is decided, usually you play it until the end, and both teams were sending in the second stringers. Everyone flabbergasted. So Stillwater is going to win this 3-0. The game is called at 6:48 left. Well, I guess we all get to go home a little earlier, don't we? Well, we'll try to get to the field and have a word with the Stillwater player if we can. But the Ponies go to 3-3-3. Duluth East falls to 6-5-0. 3-0 is your final. You're watching high school boys soccer.
Across the Twin Cities Metro and beyond, TSP Television offers long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. It takes a lot of time and effort to give you this level of coverage. If you want to help out, visit us at patreon.com/GSP Television or paypal.me/GSP Television. And I'm joined by Ethan Kilmer, who scored one of Stillwater's 3 goals tonight in a game that was called due to lightning. Ethan, your goal, I think, turned the tide emotionally in this game. You were able to shake off a couple of defenders and punch it in before McHenry could recover. Tell me, how big was that goal to close the first half?
I thought it was really big. We had a lot of momentum going into the second half after that, and we were just having a great half, and the other team was getting upset and angry and frustrated at us, and we just played really well. We really had it going.
And that frustration really boiled over in the second half. There were 3 yellows, a red card issued to Bailey France, and I know you're not trying to psych out the opponent, but what did that tell you when you saw you were up 2-0, then 3-0, and you had all the momentum?
It told us that what we were doing was working, and we were really just getting all over them, and they couldn't handle it, so they were getting super frustrated, and they had to call fouls, and the ref had to do something about it.
What does it mean? I know the storyline entering this matchup, maybe not what folks were expecting this time a year ago, but in the rematch against the finalist in the Class 2A state championship, you pick up a big win, and for this team, looking for confidence, I'd say this is a big win.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. We've been looking for something for a while. Our past few games, the results have been a little disappointing, but this is a big win for us, and it was a big effort, and I thought everyone who hit the field played really, really well.
I spoke with Nick Purdy last week. He talked about confidence. That's something this team was going to be looking for with a lot of new faces and a new keeper coming over from the lacrosse team. How do you think confidence has built up throughout the season, even if the wins haven't come along with it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've really needed a confidence booster. We've had some starters who weren't even on varsity last year, so we really needed a confidence booster. But as we've going, as we keep on scoring more goals every game, we keep defending better. I think the confidence has been really piling up, and we've been doing a lot better recently.
And speaking of goals, you've been shut out 4 times this season. Not tonight. You scored 3 goals for the second time this season. I know you're You don't go in there thinking we're going to score 5 every night. But how can a game like this maybe help turn things around in that department and get you guys more fluid on offense?
I think sometimes when you get shut out, you start to you look at the goal and you just see an iron wall, like it's impossible to score. But then nights like tonight prove that it's perfectly possible to score, and all we just have to do is shoot and, put good effort in on offense, and we can easily put the ball in the net. It's a big confidence booster.
All right, you want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Well, thanks again, Ethan Kilmer. An impressive goal to end the first half, an impressive win, and we'll see if you guys can keep this up as the season moves along.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right. That's Ethan Kilmer of the victorious Stillwater Ponies. That does it from here at Pony Stadium. Stillwater knocking off Duluth East 3-0. For our crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thank you for watching.